YouTube family, welcome back to my channel, Home Sweet Classroom. In today's video, I have some great tips for you for this new adventure we're going to embrace this year, distance learning, whatever you may call it. And I am so excited because these tips are excellent for parents and teachers who are going to embrace this new journey. So thank you so much for coming by and visiting me, and let's just go ahead and jump right to it. Hello sweet friends, so if you are new to my channel, my name is Maritza and I am an elementary school teacher in the state of North Carolina. I have a couple years under my belt. I am really excited. I've taught so many different grade levels across the years because my husband is active duty military and we travel quite a bit. So I have been to a couple places and that has given me the opportunity to be in different grade levels and different classrooms at different schools. And I'm just excited to be able to share these ideas with you because these are things that I have come across that have been super helpful and experienced myself. So why not share them with you guys? I hope they are helpful and you enjoy this video. If you are not yet subscribed to my channel and you want to be part of my Home Sweet Classroom family here on this little tiny corner on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe down below. And if you enjoyed this video halfway there, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up for me. It lets me know you're enjoying the content and you would like to see more. So don't forget to leave me a comment as well what things are working for you, or if you want to share and contribute and add to this list, by all means do so. Put it in the comments. I'm sure we would all love to hear it. And let's get right to it. I have a couple things for you. I do have my notes here with me because they are quite a few of them. I'm really excited. So for this home learning, distance learning, virtual learning, whatever you may call it, because it has been named so many different things. It's quite incredible. I've also named it a couple things. I've called it remote learning. Virtual learning has been thrown out there a lot, but whatever you may call it, it is very new to all of us. And we've only gotten a bit of a taste of it, I think, this past school year, ending the year with this virtual learning. But now we have come into this predicament that we have to just kind of embrace it all over again, beginning the new school year. So every school looks very different. Personally, I will not be starting the year virtually, but that is for another video, guys. But it is 50% virtual, so it still kind of counts. And I just thought, I've been hearing so many parents and families and also teachers that have been struggling with this transition or just like hunting for ideas, and which is completely normal. It's phenomenal actually that you're looking for these and trying to better yourself or trying to make this experience a positive one. So congrats. You're doing a great job already. So that's why I've compiled these tips for you guys that I hope that you find very useful, and looking for what you need, especially because everybody's needs are very different and everybody's homes and structures are so different. I totally get it. So I hope that these tips are useful and just make your life just a teeny weeny bit easier. So let's jump right into it. My very first tip for you guys is to set up a daily schedule. I don't know how many times I've said this in other videos, and I'm so sorry if it looks like it's becoming redundant, but it is so important to set a schedule for your kids. At home, at school, whether you're virtual or remote or whatever you may call it, it is so important to set a schedule. Display it in your home so that your children see it. If you are on a multiple children kind of schedule, displayed in their rooms or in their corner, wherever it is most visible for the child. Display and make sure your children know that there is a schedule in place, because things can come, you know, you're at home, you wake up at a reasonable time and you're just really comfortable because you're at home. Well, that's how children feel as well. But setting a schedule during this time for actual learning blocks and playtime blocks is really helpful for kids to understand that there is a time for everything. There is a schedule for them throughout the day. Even though they're at home, it is still our school time, and setting a schedule will definitely help ease and just make things go a lot smoother in that sense. I've mentioned it in other videos. I've done a quarantine life vlog, and I've shared with you guys my schedule for my elementary and middle school child and my toddler. So I kind of have a little bit of everything there. Their schedules, of course, look very different. My elementary and my middle school child look very similar because it was more of a block schedule, but for my toddler it was an hourly schedule, and it was just super helpful to have it displayed for them to see it and for them to be able to follow it with their own eyes without my constant repetition of it's not that time, it's not that time, or it's time for this. And you have to remember that children are in a structured environment hourly, even up to the minute, at schools and or at daycares or at other kind of educational atmosphere. So being at home is totally out of their element, and you kind of want to bring that into their home environment during this time, so that way they can get a better sense of how the day is going to go, what they're going to be supposed to be doing or accomplish that day, and I guarantee you it will go so much smoother. Here is a copy of what I sent my parents this last semester when we ended with virtual learning, and I shared it with my parents. They didn't have to use it, but it's definitely something that was available as a resource for them, because some parents were kind of struggling with what time of day they were supposed to be doing things. So I made just a kind of an easy schedule for them to follow, nothing too extraordinary or something too much of a structure where they wouldn't be able to keep up with it, but it was something that they could use. And I found that several parents really found it useful. A couple parents asked for it, so I went ahead and made that for them and sent it right to them. It is available down in the description box if you would like it. You could also download it. I believe you have to make a copy of it because it is in Google Drive, and then just print it off, and you can change it, customize it to the way you feel. It's kind of just a skeleton of a structural daily schedule for you guys. My next tip is to send videos to your kiddos, to your little ones. I think this is super cute. Sending videos to your students is just an extraordinary thing because we didn't have this kind of technology before. So I think it's just extraordinary the things that parents and teachers are doing around the world, especially in the Instagram teacher world. I have seen some phenomenal things, guys, and it's beautiful the message that it gives our children and the message that it gives our students. It really changes the atmosphere of things. They light up when they see your face. Their faces light up, and they are just super excited when they receive a video of you talking or of you giving a lesson. When they can actually see your faces, it makes them feel so much better, and it's much different. They're seeing other things like cartoons and videos on YouTube and other things that are entertaining for them, but when they can do that when they see their teacher, it becomes a whole different world. So my tip for you guys is to send videos to your students or make videos for your children at home. Not only do you have to send videos of you giving a lecture or giving a lesson, but making music, sending music to them. It doesn't have to be you singing, of course. Music is a great way to incorporate some extra learning skills because music really sticks to kids. When you put a song with a skill, they learn it so much faster. It's like it just sticks to them, and it's a hum behind their head the whole day for the next couple weeks. So music is a great way to incorporate into this home learning virtual experience because they get to have some fun with it. A lot of teachers incorporate music into their classrooms daily, including myself. I love to find videos for my students that have to do with a skill, whether it's inferencing, multiplication, whether we're brainstorming. I am constantly looking constantly looking for videos to open up that lesson. So if you bring that into your home, I think it will be a really, really great transition for them. They're going to enjoy the lesson and really gravitate toward learning it and wanting to know more about it versus just opening a textbook or opening up a packet. Music, starting out with music could be a whole different world, a whole different feeling for them. So you can really see their faces light up and get excited about it. So that's another way to use videos and incorporating songs into your learning environment. Some other examples are not just from YouTube, but there's also teachertube, sorry. There is vocabulary, there is Khan Academy, and all of these I'll put down in the description box below for you guys because there are some really great videos out there. And vocabulary is a paid subscription, and I've talked about it before, but it also has, there's also free videos on there that you can use if your district doesn't have the subscription for it. So if your district doesn't have it, don't feel like you can't hop on there to see what videos are free. My next tip for you guys is to focus on quality, not quantity. And the reason why I say that is because we don't want to bombard our kids with so much busy work that we forget to give them and make sure they use all of their energy on the meaningful work. So I find that using worksheet after worksheet after worksheet is just busy work. They're not really putting their efforts into meaningful work. Although practice is really great for children, it also can be interpreted as busy work, and it could really stress them out, overwhelm them, and just overwork them, and then they won't be able to perform or do the work that's really meaningful and put their best effort into that. For example, I would strive for 1 to 2 hours of meaningful work rather than giving them 4 to 5 hours of just busy work and work after work or lesson after lesson or packet after packet. It is really not necessary to have the children be working 6 to 8 hours at home of schoolwork. That is a lot of work, and it could be so stressful on the child. For example, giving the child 4 problems instead of 8 problems, and then as an extension they could give an explanation as a video of how they worked out the problem. That is a great way to provide that chunk of meaningful work instead of giving them that whole 8 problems or that 6 to 8 hours of work, and they just are flipping through it, getting it done, and it's not really meaningful. My next tip for you guys is to be flexible. In the classroom, teachers know this word, and it's always being said. So as a teacher, I know that flexibility is important, but I want you guys to know that flexibility is so important during this time. Things are just shifting, the news is just throwing things out there, and our minds are just going. But kids being at home don't really understand that, and they don't feel that, but they need you to be flexible with them. So teachers, if we're doing virtual learning, be flexible with your schedule, be flexible when it comes to seeing their faces or connecting with them online. But also parents at home, just remember, there won't always be a great day. And I know that as a parent because sometimes it just happens, guys. And to be flexible means that you are going to instantly be able to shift your schedule, move things around so that it best fits everybody's needs. So I encourage you to be flexible if you're able to. If you need to rearrange your schedule for your kids, make it happen for them, because it's really important for them to know that they're able to accomplish things even if there's a slight bit of a twist to the day. Also, I want to point out that not all children learn at the same pace, and they don't master skills at 100% every single time they are taught a lesson. And that's even in the classroom. Skills are not mastered all the time at 100%. All kids learn differently, and we just have to be able to roll with it. With that being said, I want to communicate with you guys that if you're at home and you're teaching a skill, a reading skill, for example, don't be alarmed if your child is not getting it at 100%. Don't be alarmed, teachers, if your students aren't getting it 100% that first time during that virtual lesson, because those skills spiral. Usually that reading comprehension skills spiral, math skills spiral, or they are taught all year. So don't be alarmed if they're not getting it 100%. Be flexible with it and give them as much attention and practice skills as they can receive. But keep in mind that that skill will come around again and they'll have that opportunity to learn it once again or practice that skill again later. My next tip is to provide students with lots of choice. This is one of my favorite tips because I genuinely believe in choice. In my own classroom, I've talked about it before in other vlogs, especially toward the beginning of my YouTube journey. I've talked a lot about giving choice, and I've talked about my stations as being choice stations. We call them smart stations. And I encourage parents and teachers to use choice in their classroom, whether it's through a choice board, whether it's just for math or for reading or during independent time, because it really helps kids self-check. It really helps them be responsible for their learning. It really gives them that opportunity to own up to their learning. So children in general love choice because they feel like they're in control of what they are choosing. And with that being said, it's not giving them choice of something that you don't approve of and that you do approve of. You're giving them two choices or however many choices of things that you are okay with them choosing. So if I'm giving them a choice, for example, a toddler, if I'm giving him a choice of a banana and an apple, those are two choices that I'm okay with. So either one I will be happy with, but the child is still choosing. So they're being responsible for themselves and they are feeling like they are a big kid. So giving choice to your students is just something that they will really enjoy. I have provided down in the description box a ton of different choice boards that are also even free. They're super easy to make and you can always customize them to fit your needs in your classroom or at home. And this is just a great way for that even extension learning of your child, or if your students are finished early, that they could always pick up a choice board and do that activity. So there are some really great ways, a lot of flexibility in using these, and there's that word again, flexibility. And I just really think that it's really helpful for students to use these and be able to express themselves in different ways without having the same choice or the same one option for kids. So I really guarantee you that you are really going to enjoy this tip because it's super helpful. My next tip for you guys is to send home games. Whether you're a parent at home or a teacher, you can provide games for the kids at home that are learning games, whether they are math games, reading games, science games, social studies games, writing games. There are tons of games out there that are free, whether you can print them out online or you can order some as well on Amazon. There are tons of learning games out there. And not only do you have to send home games for that specific child, but send home games that allow other children at home that they could play with their sibling, or they can play with the parents at home. These are really fun ways to extend learning, extend practice, of course. In the description box below as well, I have provided a couple links for you guys of free game downloads where you just print them off, cut them, sort them, and there we go. It's all ready to go for your child to play. My next tip for you guys is to over communicate. Communication is such a big role in this pandemic right now, and I think that communicating is so important, but to over communicate is even more important. When I talk about over communicate, I am talking about communicating with parents, communicating with your teachers, communicating with the school, with colleagues. Over communicate because it could really be a bridge or close that gap to miscommunication. There is no such thing as asking too many questions. Last quarter, when we began this remote learning, lots of parents were apologizing for asking too many questions, and I would constantly tell them, no, by no means are you asking too many questions. I am happy, I'm here to help. So I think that you should also communicate to your parents or talk to your teachers that you need that clarification, because asking too many questions, there is no such thing. We are all in this together, and there are tons of questions in the air, and we might not have all the answers to it, but to ask for clarity will be so much better to bridge those gaps in not understanding and just not doing the work. We don't want there to be any underlying questions. So ask as many questions as you need, because there is an answer somewhere. My best tip to teachers about over communicating is just to set really, really clear expectations. Put it in a PowerPoint, put it in your method of communication for parents and teachers. Post it somewhere where teachers and parents can access it easily, and make sure that they know how to access those expectations. And I also want to say to also be very forgiving. There are tons of things that we are unclear and unsure of right now. Even with teachers and parents at home, there are things that we just don't know yet. And if we don't have an answer to it, I guarantee you that there will be an answer eventually, or there can be an alternative. But to be forgiving, parents can really be at ease, and teachers can be at ease as well, that there is some kind of communication between the parent and the teacher for the child. Remember that this is for our kids, and to over communicate and be forgiving can really, really help build that relationship even from afar. I also want to point out that parents have a lot going on at home, including myself, and I would know because I'm also a parent. And there could be a ton of situations going on. Parents could have more than one child at home. There could be an infant at home. There could be a pregnant mommy at home. There could be an active duty parent where they might be going on deployment. There are tons of different situations that could really deter from what's going on at home, and could be really a distraction. So we need to be able to bridge that communication and make sure that we are there for each other. My next tip is to make sure you take frequent breaks. It could be really overwhelming to be going from morning to afternoon without any breaks. There are tons of brain breaks out there. There is Go Noodle, there are dancing breaks on YouTube. There's so many different ways to take breaks, and taking a break can really help your kiddo just like process things, and it could be really helpful for their thinking, and just make sure that we're not stressing out the children. So, and also the parents or teachers, we want to make sure we're taking lots of breaks and to play, to breathe, to relax, take some water, get a snack. So make sure you're taking enough breaks that you are not stressing yourself out and your kids out. My next tip is to take a field trip. This is something that I want to say that I really, really enjoyed this past last quarter that we were in virtual learning, because it is so fun. So I would like to encourage you to take a field trip in this virtual learning experience. Now, there are two ways that you can take a field trip. You can either take one virtually, or you can actually go out. So I know with COVID and all, there are not a ton of opportunities, but if you have an opportunity to extend learning to a national park, somewhere where it's outdoors and there's lots of space and breathing, air breathing that you are able to enjoy, and you're close somewhere outdoor historic that you can take a field trip and extend that learning, that would be a great opportunity to take a field trip. The other way you can take a field trip is by doing a virtual field trip. Now, I, last quarter, would send my students, or together we'd go on a virtual field trip when we were on a live session, or I would send it through our teams on our platform, our virtual platform, and they really enjoyed it. It was so much fun, and there are a ton of different virtual field trips that have also come out because of of COVID, and they are considering our teachers and parents at home and schools. So there are a ton out there that you can visit, even historical parks and monumental places and outdoor adventures that you can take to extend that learning. And I'm sure that if you call some places, they'd be more than willing to do a virtual field trip for your specific class. So definitely reach out and try these virtual field trips that are also even free, tons of aquarium ones, and I guarantee you're gonna love it. I'll make sure I post a link to different websites where you can access those as well if you're looking for ideas. My next tip is to send work in chunks, not as a whole sum. You don't want to send this big packet of different lessons and the children are overwhelmed, or parents are overwhelmed, or teachers are overwhelmed preparing all of these packets. So I really encourage you to send home in chunks, maybe every 3 weeks, or however much is possible. Send it in chunks. But if you're also receiving a big lump sum, I'll talk about how you can also chunk it for your children. So one way you can do this is by taking apart the packet and placing them in bins or in your folder and labeling them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, making sure that they know what lesson or what pages to do versus receiving this big packet. Now I want you to keep in mind that children, when they receive a packet, what they understand is from in a classroom version. They receive that packet and they think automatically they have to complete this whole packet in one sitting. So giving them a whole packet can be a little overwhelming and confusing, even if you just tell them to do this page or these 2 pages. So make sure that you label it, or you're giving some kind of sticky note method or something that really helps them understand what chunk to do for that day or for that week. It'll be really, really helpful. In my experience, I've had a parent tell me before, he's not keeping up. He doesn't understand that this is supposed to be today. So I suggested this and it worked. So I really, really encourage you to do it in chunks. And if you can send it in chunks, it would be best. But if you're receiving a whole packet as a lump sum, just take it apart and use what for that day and then put the rest away. It could be really, really helpful and definitely make it a smooth transition into that learning environment. And my last tip, guys, is just to add a little spark of fun. This is by far the most difficult time that anyone has gone through, I think. Like it's been different for everyone. It's definitely been difficult for mentally and emotionally for me and for other families. So just adding a little fun, a spark of fun, could really change up things and just lighten up the mood. So one way you could do this is by adding a meme to the day. Add a meme to your daily slides for your students. Add a little fun. Just to put a smile on their face. Parents, I encourage you to do this. You can put it up on their bathroom sink, and when they wake up in the morning, they can see it when they're preparing for their learning school at home. Put it up on the fridge, hide it in their lunch. There are so many different ways you can do this, and I just add a little fun to your day. Make sure that you're putting a smile and laughing all together, because this is definitely a stressful time already. So if you're smiling and you're having fun with this, then you're definitely doing a good job. But if you're forgetting to do this, these are just some ways you can provide and give yourself that opportunity to just have fun and make sure that you are smiling and putting a little encouragement, throwing a little kindness out there. I hope that these tips were super helpful for you guys. As I was talking to them and telling you about them, I'm making sure I keep them in my pocket to pull them out when I need to. I hope that these encouraged you and were useful. Please pass them along if you find them encouraging and you think someone will also, and I would really appreciate it. I want to make sure that everyone out there is feeling encouraged and positive and having the available resources or ideas to provide them to be able to move forward and to be able to feel relieved just a little bit better about themselves and going into this new journey. This is a weird time for everyone, so don't feel alone in this. I hope I was able to help you navigate through this, and I know that everyone in the world is going through something a little bit different, and it looks different for everyone, of course. So just thinking of you guys and hoping that you are staying safe and well, and that you are feeling a little bit more positive today. And of course, if you have any more tips that you want to add to this list, by all means, share them down in the comments below, because we'd all love to hear them. I certainly would like to add them to my list, because anything is helpful, anything encouraging and positive that I could add to it, I would be more than happy to hear it. And if you are not yet subscribed, don't forget to subscribe down below and join my discussion group. If you already subscribed, thank you so much for joining me and being with me today. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. It lets me know that you're enjoying the videos and enjoying the content that I'm sharing with you guys. Thank you so much for watching in today's video. Don't forget to sprinkle a little kindness wherever you go, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys.